Well, there you go, visionaries. Well, today we're talking about the examples really by Stephen Covey is one of them that talked about the importance of knowing a direction that you're going. And he gives the idea of how people, go through life compared to the way that someone would build a home. You wouldn't decide to build a home and just say to the carpenter and the developer and the construction workers and the cement layers and all the people, the paving company, you wouldn't just say, well, come on over and kind of go with the flow and do what you want. He said, absolutely not. You would have a blueprint. You would have a blueprint that would show you kind of an end result. And certainly you can make adjustments, but you at least have an intention of where you're going. And the same is true with our lives as visionaries. It's important to have a direction as to where we're going, like GPS, for example, or a navigating system that's in your car. You can say, I want to get from my home and I want to go to the central USA. And you enter in the data. You can certainly make stops along the way. You can certainly plan to stay the night. You can visit certain levels that are recommended as a tourist. But that being said, you're still going to go back to, at my end result, I really want that direction. And that's a big stop, I think, for a lot of people that they, let me give you an example like going to Paris. If I talked about being able to go to Paris, so many people would say, oh, I can't have the time off right now. Oh, I don't have the money. Oh, um, I I just don't know much about it. Oh, I don't know the language. And on and on and on with the reasons and the excuses and the different things that they would say. But when Covey talks about my end result, or I talk about in my life experience, my end result is that ultimately I want to wind up in Paris. So, knowing that's the case, what are some of the things I can do right now? Well, I need a passport. So, if I don't have it, then I need to be getting it because that takes time. I could be looking for some lightweight luggage. I could do that. I could go on the internet and I could look at some of the sites to see and what that entails so that I am prepared for when I go. There's so many things that I can do prior to the time because the more and more and more I step into the feeling, the more and more it's going to happen in my life. I will always remember when I was teaching at a hospital. I was teaching the staff at a hospital the power of intention and visioning and stuff like that. And a nurse, she just wanted to talk to me, wanted to talk to me, wanted to talk to me. And I like really wanted some downtime for my lunch hour so that I could kind of be in my energy again and get ready for a whole afternoon of course material. But she was just insisting upon, I went home during break and I felt like I've got to show you this and I want you to see it and I want you to see this trip that I went on. And I was like, okay. So I surrendered to it. And she carries me through like this whole photo album. Uh, this was my trip in Paris, and this is what I went to see. Oh, and while I was there, I went to the museum that features Joan of Arc. Oh, and let me tell you, a highlight of my trip was when I went to Giverny, and that is where Monet lived. And I've never seen so many beautiful tulips in my life, and she just gave me detail after detail after detail. It was amazing. So 3 or 4 years later, I find myself in Paris going to the museum that has Joan of Arc. And I found myself taking a bus
Mhm.
outside the city and going to Giverny, a memorable experience of my life. It was detailed, and she had given me the highlights, and I was able to benefit from that. And so many a time that has occurred in life of that visual, either audio visualizing, or if it's imagery or with a picture. And since I have been a teenager, I have been drawing images of my mind in my mind of things that I wanted to see and I wanted to experience. And again, we go back to what I've taught many a time and remind myself of many a time. I say what, and I allow God to say how. The reason that so many big dreams and big ideas and great longings stop is because people are in the how. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, can't happen to me, it didn't happen to my parents, I'm not able to do it, and blah, 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 blah. So, all that said is what is the image that you have in your life? What are the images that you have around you? I've had, as a little girl, I used to paint sailboats all the time. Sailboats, beautiful water, beautiful sunsets. And one day I'm like, oh, here I am. I live on the water. I see sailboats all the time. That image was in my heart and it had to manifest. And so, what are the images that are in your heart? I have many, 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 many vision boards. Some have kind of aged through the years and the images have fallen off, live the dream. I have a vintage car like that. But years ago, I cut out that image of that Mercedes. I put my head in it. And then I think, oh, yeah, who else is there? Yeah, I put image of me twice in there, the bigger me and the dreamy me in the vehicle. I have, this is profound. It says going for a walk, and on the image it says the backyard. Well, for those of you that know or have been to my home, and Dr. Aileen can clearly state that, when you walk across the boardwalk, there's the same image, and that is my backyard. It's literally across the street. But this was done years ago. Years ago, this was the image that I grew into my life. And so you really want to dream. It's like this says Hawaii on it. I've been to Hawaii, all expense paid trip that was on my dreams. Another one that I think is so fun, let's see, in finding it, is all these cruise ships, all these cruise ships. And I have them on so many of my image boards that where I have been on a ship, I'm getting on a ship, I'm getting off a ship, a clipper ship. I'm really big on traveling through this kind of work going on a cruise. And I have had so many cruises and many cruises that I didn't pay for because that's important to me and it's my value. One image that I have on one of my vision boards is a big old red bow. And when I was ordained as a unity minister, my wife treated me to an all expense paid trip, I think twice on cruises. And so now, if you can believe it and go one step further, I own I have a co-partnership in owning a cruise business because it's important in my life and I love it. So how far can you dream and how big can you go? And you want to be aware of the images that you have because they manifest. I've had them be an author of a book when I had not even started as being a writer. And now I've either written some books or I'm in at least 6 or 7 at this point. So, what you activate into the vision of your imagery, it will find you. You will calibrate, you will align, you will start shifting and growing and changing to fit into that visionary field. And it is just what happens. And it's natural, it's not hard, but it's hard to go through life going, let me just see what happens, let me just go with the flow and not have some kind of intention of what you enjoy or what you like. So this is one that yeah, I just really love it. Now I don't know if you can see that, I did take Brad Pitt and I put my head on Brad Pitt's body. So one day I still envision being able to have a really loving long conversation with Oprah or someone that has that archetypal energy that Oprah carries. And so the dreams, the dreams, the dreams. Here's another thing: the large waterfall. Well, I didn't know at the time that waterfall. Um, the city isn't coming to me right now, but I've actually been underneath that and had an experience there and really loved it. It was just really profound. So anything is possible as long as you can be possible. And that's our quest, and that's what we aim to do is you make yourself possible. And through dreaming and looking at magazines and looking at things that make your heart sing, put them on a sheet of paper. And obviously, I've gotten to the point now that I laminate them so they can stay true in my life. And I've taken photos of them so I can go back and go, oh my gosh, look, now that has happened in my life. So I hold for you as a visionary that beautiful energy within that calls you forth, that is inviting you to dream and dream big and know the truth of who you are. It's been my blessing being with you. God bless you on this amazing journey that we call life. And that's just the truth of who we are.